Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well and having a fantastic week. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the signs of a healthy bird, and we're also going to be health checking cockatiels, chip and fish. Hopefully they're going to comply, otherwise we'll be having the conures as part of the video as well. But I think this is really important because while, you know, we see our birds and we think, oh yeah, they look fine, doing an actual thorough health check and following different points could be really useful just in case you miss something, because birds are very good at hiding signs of illness. So if we know the good signs to look out for, anything different might warrant a trip to an avian vet. Also, I have to give this disclaimer in any of my health videos. If you think that there is something wrong with your bird, please go straight to an avian vet. Please don't leave me a comment because I might not see it and I'm not a vet. Whilst I can give you general first aid information and information about what to look out for, I can't treat your birds or tell you how to treat your birds. And if you need any help finding an avian vet, please do leave me a comment because I can help you find them. I found them in India and the Philippines and obviously UK, USA, all those kinds of places. So all around the world, I can try and help you find an avian vet. So please don't worry about reaching out about that. However, if you do have a problem with your bird, please just get them to a vet. Anyway, let's get straight into the health check and signs of a healthy bird. Now, to start your health check, you want to be generally just looking at your bird, seeing their activity levels. Are they interested in things? Like Chip is very interested in chewing my hairband. Are they alert? Are they looking around? Are they actively moving? And the other thing to do regularly is to weigh your bird. Ideally, you want to be weighing them a couple of times a week. Any less than that, maybe once a week is okay, but any less than that is really not worth it because birds' weights can really fluctuate and you need to keep an eye on that because they might look really healthy, but you want to check out those weights to see how they're doing. So as we're going through the health check, I'm going to try and have some sort of close-up pictures in the corner there so you can see what I'm talking about. And we're going to start off with the eyes. You want your bird's eyes to be nice and clear, and you want them to be fully open and no kind of discharge or crust around those eyes. They need to be open, looking around, and also be aware of, you know, if your hand comes near, they can kind of see it. So they're aware of their surroundings and their eyes are nice and bright and clear. Where possible, you also want to check out your bird's ears. Now, birds do have ears. Some people seem to think they don't. For cockatiels here, there is actually just underneath those orange cheek patches, so they're a little bit tricky to see. But if you can give your bird a scritch, you can move those feathers out of the way and just make sure that ear canal, again, is clear of any kind of discharge or any build-up of gunk. Shouldn't be anything in there for a normal bird, so that's something to keep an eye on as well. If you see any kind of unusual appearance for your bird's ears or the feathers over the ear, if they're looking a bit kind of wet, then that might be a reason to go and have an appointment with your avian vet. So when you're checking out your bird's ears, be really, really gentle and try and do it when you're having a kind of preening session with them because they are very sensitive. You don't want to be putting anything down their ears, anything like that, and just be super, super careful when you're looking at them. And as I said, there could be wetness around the ears, but obviously if they've just had a bath, that wetness is normal. So if the rest of the body is dry and they've got kind of wet, gunky ears, that might be something to check out. So moving down, we're now going to look at the nostrils. We want them to be nice and clear and open. Now, quite often birds, especially cockatiels, will get some of that dust and dander from their feathers stuck into their nostrils. That is normal and they will get it out on their own most of the time. They'll use their nails, or when they're having a bath, it'll come out, or they'll have a big sneeze, something like that. But you need to be keeping an eye on it just in case that build-up isn't coming out, because then you'll need to see an avian vet. Again, you don't want to be putting anything in your bird's nostrils, no tweezers or toothpicks. I've seen people suggest, please do not do that. It's really bad for your bird. And something you may not know is birds actually have a tissue structure just inside their nostrils called the operculum, and that actually looks like sometimes they have a build-up of gunk in their nose because it's brown and pink in colour. So sometimes you might think your bird's nostrils are blocked up, but it's just the operculum just kind of peeking through the nostrils. So if you are putting anything in your bird's nostrils, you could really hurt them. So again, if you are ever unsure, please go to your avian vet because you don't want any kind of build-up in those nostrils for a substantial period of time. But you can also encourage your bird to clear any of these blockages by sort of preening them very gently over their nostrils, preening them around their face, or encouraging them to have a bath because then they're more likely to kind of sneeze it out. Now, I did just want to briefly touch upon the cockatiel and cockatoo crest. Obviously, they are kind of species specific, but my boyfriend David actually has a whole video on cockatiel crests and their meanings, so it's worth going to check that out after this video. But the crest can tell you a lot about your bird's kind of behaviour and what they're feeling, what they're up to. If the crest is always in quite a low position or stuck to their head, that could be an indication that they're not very happy. So again, go check out that video after this one, and then you can be all clued up if you have cockatiels or cockatoos at home. Now, moving down, we want to be looking at the beak. Now, I've done a whole video all about bird beaks, so there's more information in that video. Again, you can go and check it out after this one. But peeling on the beak can be a bit alarming to some owners, but it is perfectly normal for your bird's beak to have a little bit of peeling because it's always growing. It's made out of keratin, which is the same material as our hair and fingernails, so it's going to have that peeling effect as the different layers wear off naturally. Now it's a bit tricky, but it's also good to try and have a look inside your bird's mouth, just to make sure there's no kind of build-up. Something to look out for is white substance over your bird's tongue or mouth. That could indicate something like a yeast infection. And also it's really important to occasionally have a good sniff of your bird's breath, because that can be an indicator that something could be wrong as well. Your bird shouldn't really have much of a scent to their breath unless they've just eaten something like strawberries, for example, like our birds, or herbs as well. But if there's quite a sweet smell to the breath or quite a sour one, then that could be an indication there might be something wrong with the crop. Again, go to your avian vet to get that looked at. Another point about your bird's beak is that it shouldn't be too long or too short. Now sometimes dietary deficiencies can cause different problems with the beak, and you don't want them to get overgrown. Beak overgrowth is not something you can help at home. You can't trim it at home. It's very delicate, and you don't want to be kind of doing anything that might harm your bird. So again, as I'm going to say all throughout this video, if you're ever unsure, please go and see an avian vet. But as I said, I have my video all about beak health, so that can let you know a little bit more about what you should be looking out for, and different ways to keep your bird's beak nice and healthy. Next, you want to be checking out your bird's whole body condition. So you want to be having a look and making sure that they are not underweight or overweight. Now the way to do this is to feel their keel bone, which can be a bit tricky because most birds don't like having it done. But if you can do that during like a preening session, or you can train it as a behaviour for them to cooperate in your husbandry care, then that'll be really beneficial for you. I'll put a graphic on screen now of what you should be looking for. You want the breast muscles to be kind of in line with the keel bone. You don't want them to be bulging out because that could indicate they're overweight, and you don't want them to be concave because that could indicate that they are underweight. Then you want to be looking at your bird's feathers. Again, I've got a whole video on lots of different parts of your bird's body, so go and check out the feather video again afterwards. All the links are going to be down in the description. You want your bird's feathers to be nice and shiny, or in good condition and nicely preened. You don't want any feathers to be missing, although of course if your bird is molting, then it's normal for some feathers to be missing while they're growing back in. And yes, they should be in really great condition as well. It's also worth pointing out that the bird's wings should be nicely against their bodies. They shouldn't be drooping down, or one drooping down, for example. They should be held nice and firmly in place. And also it's important to have a look at your bird's tail as well, not only for their feathers, but also to have a look at whether it's bobbing or not, because a prominent tail bob could indicate some respiratory distress. So just get them a general kind of all look over on their body and make sure that they are looking very beautiful like chip and fish. Next, you want to be moving underneath the tail to their cloaca, which is essentially their back end. And you want that to be nice and clear. You don't want any kind of poops or anything stuck to the cloaca. That's not normal at all, and that should be checked out by an avian vet. And speaking of poops, I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm going to leave a link down below called Poopology, which goes into all the different things about what's normal and what isn't for poops. Obviously, depending on what your bird eats, that is going to decide what kind of colour and consistency your bird's poop should be. If they're eating a lot of vegetables, they're more likely to be a bit more wet. But generally speaking, the actual poop itself, the faeces, should be a kind of long string and well formed, usually green or brown. And then the urates, which is a white chalky substance, should be part of that in every single poops. And then there should be a small amount of urine as well, which is a clear liquid, all part of the same components, so they should all be together. If you see any changes in your bird's poops, definitely go and check them out. And finally, moving down to the little peats, the little birdie feet, which are very beautiful. You want to be looking at and making sure that your birds can grip you properly, and they are very confident sitting on your hand. They're very well balanced as well. Then you want to be looking at your bird's nail length. You want your bird's nails to be the right length, not too long and not too short. And you can tell this by, if you put them on a flat surface, their toes should be kind of pointing straight. You don't want the nails and toes pointing really upwards, which indicates that they're a bit uncomfortable because the nails are quite long. And if you are going to be trimming their nails, please make sure you do it properly, because it's very easy to nip the quick. But if you're not sure, then I will leave some resources down below as to how to trim your bird's nails properly, or again, your vet can do it for you. And the other thing to look out for is the actual kind of foot pads and base of your bird's feet. You want to be checking those, make sure there's no cuts and grazes, because those could develop into an infection like bumblefoot, which is quite serious. So you want to make sure that you are checking those little feet and making sure that they are in great condition. Some birds like cockatiels and cockatoos, again African greys as well, who are powdery down birds, have all this dust and dander, and it does fall into their foot cracks, and it does make them look like they're dry, but they're actually not. It's just that dust falling into the foot cracks. But again, I've got a whole video on feet, so if you want to know a little bit more about how to keep your little peeps in great condition, then go and check that out as well. But that brings me to the end of the video. I hope that's given you some more information as to how to give your bird a really thorough health check. If you have any questions about health checking or just general health questions, then please let me know down in the comments, as I would love to speak to you. And again, if you need any help finding an avian vet where you are in the world, please get in touch as well, as I would love to speak to you. But from me and Chip and Fish, who have been very suspiciously well behaved in this video, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Take care and see you later.